Welcome to Life Esteem, a program committed to delivering information that's important to you and your community.
Hello and welcome to Life Esteem. Always great to have you as a viewer. Today we're going to talk to a real good friend of ours, Paul Carey. Paul's the executive director of Sankofa 21, and I was so glad to have you on the show, Paul.
Glad to be here.
All right. You know, Sankofa 21 is all about remembering our history, African American history, and you've done a tremendous job of, bringing this organization into this area, bringing in tremendous speakers, having great discussions and all that kind of stuff. What got you into Sankofa 21? What made you develop this?
Well, this is a part of my history, going way back to college and post-college and coming out of New York City and being involved with some of the greatest scholars that were in New York, and were about bringing information into the community. People like Dr. Yosef Ben Yuckanan and Dr. Yosef Ben Yuckanan, Dr. Leonard Jeffries,
yes.
Dr. John Henry Clark. These men were involved in providing information and sharing information and enhancing the communities in New York City. When I moved to Harrisburg, I sought out a gentleman by the name of the Reverend Dr. Nathaniel Gatson, who I had been informed is an information specialist here in Central PA. And I haven't let him go yet. So Sankofa 21 evolved out of what I saw a need to bring quality information to transform the community. We'd like to see enhanced economic stability. We'd like to see youth be able to pursue their dreams, realistically, with something at the end of that, not just a good name.
We ought to say at the top of the show also, you're a teacher.
Yes.
And you teach at a Milton Hershey School.
That's true.
All right.
Yes.
And, we have known you, like I said, you and your wonderful family. In fact, you have a very famous brother.
Yes.
Tell us about Michael.
Michael Kenneth Williams, star of stage and screen, a SAG Award winner. He currently is involved in a number of projects.
Yes.
Most people know him well from his series on another network known as The Wire, and also another series called Boardwalk Empire, where he was co-star there.
But also more recently, he was the husband of Bessie
Smith's story,
who was played by Queen Latifah.
Yes.
And he played the devil out of that. I mean, this guy's really good. But anyhow,
yes,
but he's
indeed.
really down there. So it's, and your mom is fantastic. You know, from the Bahamas and this and that.
Yes,
great
indeed.
family, great
Yes,
family.
indeed.
But anyhow, so history is important to you, and I know that you've been, on this for a long time, on this for a minute. We were fortunate enough, Pat and I, to host you at the Life Esteem Center many times when we had the center out there on Cumberland Street. And you brought in tremendous speakers and videos. I mean, you introduced me to a lot of folks I didn't know about, which was great, so.
Well, one of the things too, Paul, I know you have this real, hunger for really knowing and understanding historical African American facts.
Yes.
Because the reality is that we are not represented well historically, and being able to get that type of information out. Tell us about some of the things that you may have learned or discovered that took you totally by surprise.
Well, one of the things that I have learned and discovered over the years is that a lot of folks, regardless of race, don't really know the history of Africans in America. We've had, luckily, some things on television that have exposed some of these things, but still in all, it's one thing to know it, it's another thing to live it, it's another thing to be able to apply it and be able to help transform people's lives. So I, initially, one of the projects that I have in Brooklyn, New York, I used to go around giving out pamphlets that had the patents and all the patent numbers of African American inventions, just to get people aware as to what is out there. And that's some of the same stuff that I wanted to bring here. We've been able to bring here, I should say.
Yes.
We have brought in some speakers. People like Ashwa Kwesi has come here. The late, great Dr. William Mackey.
Yes.
Professor Mackey from Empire College used to do a series here in Harrisburg. And several others. We are about to embark and to do that on a larger scale here in Harrisburg.
Wonderful.
We really, really think that the time has come that everybody understand a little bit more about the African American experience.
And I will tell you right now, when I say right now, it's been airing actually, and I don't know how long the series runs. On PBS, they're doing a series called First People, I think it's called.
Yes.
And it's been incredible. I mean, the history that they're breaking down about the origins of all humankind.
Yes.
And how it comes out. But it all started in Africa. And that's the point they're making. And how,
Exactly.
you know, all these civilizations moved out and became
Exactly.
who they are. It's absolutely fascinating.
It really is, and it's an important piece of work. A lot of folks think when you say Africa that you are only specifying one particular segment of the population. Well, everybody's basically out of Africa.
Yeah,
you know, so
that's what that documentary says.
a lot of folks still, you know, fight with that, and we're hoping that, you know, this consistent outpouring of information will begin to have people look at their background, look at their hearts, look at their minds, and say, you know, well, what's wrong with that?
Right.
You know, you have other societies that have evolved, as you see in that series, the Asians and Europeans and everything else, that have come along over these hundreds of thousands of years. But it is important that there was a place where this all started.
And one of the things I think is important that you're doing this kind of work is that we have so many young African Americans today who don't seem to be connected to this at all. And one of the people that I really admire is Malife Asante, of course, one of your mentors, but his son, M.K. Asante,
Yes.
who was here at the Midtown Scholar about a year ago, I guess, who has had a book out, his autobiography, and he was talking about his fight with his dad. You know, not wanting to be associated with that African stuff and all this history, and how he had to grow into it himself. And now he's one of the foremost scholars.
Yes.
You know, at a young age, he became a full professor at the age of what, 26?
Age of 26.
That's right. At Morgan State University. But he wasn't buying this stuff when he was a young kid, you know, because it just seemed so foreign to him. And his dad is so immersed into it. I mean, a recognized scholar throughout the world. So it is something that's difficult for our young, because they're bombarded with so many images, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so how do you overcome that, or how have you dealt with it, especially being a teacher? I know you see it every day.
Well, the way I work with that is that I take those things that interest young people, such as animation, and tell them, why don't you try to create something that's a little bit different, and you know, let's see if we can roll this out to the rest of the world. So we've done things like that. So we've had some animation that reflects Africans and other people. We've had comic book strips and things like that. People need to understand that, as someone said recently on national television, and I agree, they said all lives matter. And this is absolutely correct. However, you know, often in the United States, it seems as if black lives doesn't matter. So you have folks out there saying black lives matter, black lives, yes, they do matter. And we want to remind you that all lives matter, but in particular, African lives matter as well. So, you know, and that's a thing, that's the theme here. Yes, all lives matter, but let's not treat a segment of society any different. Let's enhance what we do. I want to be able to show the beauty and the goodness that can come out of this society.
Now you say Sankofa 21. Can you break down Sankofa 21, what that really is?
Okay, well, Sankofa, it's from the Akan in Ghana. It literally means to go back and get what you have forgotten. All right, so when you go back and get what you've forgotten, it is not a sin to go back and get what you have forgotten.
Right.
So we need to go back and get what we've forgotten, but at the same time, we need to move forward. All right, so Sankofa literally means to go back and get what you've forgotten and move forward. So, and the 21 is an emphasis on the 21st century. I had a conversation with Dr. Claude Anderson several years ago, and he reminded me that in terms of economics for African Americans, that 0.5% has existed since 1865. African Americans have not moved from 0.5% of the nation's economy since 1865. My thought at that time, wouldn't it be good to just focus on 100 years the 21st century and see if we can go to 1%. So that's my thrust. So Sankofa 21 takes a look at what we can do here and now.
One of the things that I read recently, I think it was Dr. Boyce Watkins, who is
Yes.
an international columnist and a professor, and he mentions about Floyd Mayweather. He said, "I'm not here to tear down Floyd Mayweather." He said,
Right.
"But I noticed that after his last fight, in which he made $300 million, he went out and had a party that cost over $1 million immediately that evening, and then he just bought a car that cost $4.8 million." And his point was, this man has all kinds of cars already. Who in the world needs a car for $4.8 million?
Exactly.
Especially in light of the fact that, he represents a community that has so many issues and so many needs in terms of education, the economic piece you're just talking about. It's like, why not take that $4.8 million and invest it in something that's going to benefit a lot of people? Come on, Floyd.
Exactly.
It's like, wake up, man. We love you. We know that you're a tremendous fighter. You've earned it. But now, do whatever everybody else in all communities do. They give back. They do something significant. And I think oftentimes when that happens, it's just a matter of people just not being connected to reality. Let's put it that way.
Right.
In terms of what should really be happening. And again, I like Floyd. No knock on him. I mean, and he seems to carry himself in a decent way, other than the couple of issues he's had.
Right.
But man, wake up.
Yes.
Wake up.
Yes.
And so part of what I hope happens is that as Sankofa 21 continues to grow in terms of the kinds of forms that you get, that more that you provide, more people come out and experience these forms and begin to understand and begin to read more, and immerse themselves more into the dialogue of what we can do as people in general, us in specific to better conditions for everybody.
Right. One of the things I also would like to bring out while we're on this topic is that Sankofa 21 is about to partner with a national nonprofit known as MKW. MKW is Making Kids Win. This is a national nonprofit sponsored by my brother, Michael K. Williams. This happened also to be his initials, MKW. And this partnership hopefully will bloom into a local community center. And one of the things that we're hoping to happen here in Harrisburg is that this will be the first stop of MKW, and these things will almost be franchised across the United States, where we have places where kids can go and be a safe haven. They don't have to worry about something happening to them, a safe place and a place where they can grow as an individual. Emphasis will be placed on things like, of course, you have your sports. Everybody has sports. But more importantly, we will have things like in the arts and entertainment, which is his niche. Sankofa wants to encourage that. As you know, our whole thing is to showcase beauty and goodness.
One of the most brilliant poets that I know is Dr. Kamika Williams out of Temple University.
Yes.
Good friend of ours, on the Word Shop advisory board.
Absolutely.
She's an excellent poet. But also I was really thrilled to know that not only does she have her PhD, and she's the department chair of anthropology and African studies there at Temple, I think, but she also was on the panel of the anti-DIAP conference, which brings in some of the top scholars from around the world to talk about this kind of stuff, the DIAP conference. And I thought, man, so she's taking the arts, but she's also marrying it with serious, academic, reflection here. And I thought, this is how it should be done. Sonia Sanchez, retired college professor. You start naming all these top poets that we have, Maya Angelou, top college professor. So these people marry those two things together. So I think it's critically important that we talk about the arts and our history.
It's critically important. And it's critically important that we support the endeavors that those like Malefikete Asante have done in the past to make those inroads to enhance and to expand the educational system for all.
And Malefikete Asante, break down a little bit about who he is. I know you know him well.
Malefikete Asante is the preeminent scholar on the concept of Afrocentricity. Now, Malefe himself will tell you, no, he did not invent Afrocentricity. He enhanced and brought forward for all people to understand the concept of Afrocentricity. This is a part of our heritage. This is a part of who we are as a people. He does a great job in doing this, and he's also the individual that brought the first PhD program and African and Africana Studies to the United States.
And
it is at Temple University
right in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Isn't that something?
Amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Yes.
And not only that, he now has his own institute that's doing this work 24/7.
MKA Institute in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I encourage a lot of folks to please go out, go on the internet under MKA Institute and find out the lectures that will be coming up.
Yeah.
Great information for everyone.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent.
Now, as you're moving forth, okay, with the, what was it, MKW?
Yes,
Make Kids
MKW.
Win? Is it Making Kids Win?
Making Kids Win.
What are some of the projected or activities outside of sports and the arts? Are you hoping to get a certain age group of young people, a demographic? What does that maybe look like?
We're hoping, you know, and we're hoping that we're not being, too grandiose in terms of what we're hoping to happen, but we're looking at that age range from about 8 to 18.
Okay.
To bring them in, guys and girls, and to begin to help track them, whatever they say, I would like to do this, and put them in front of some of those people. Maybe a young man want to be a fireman. Maybe one person would like to be a glass maker. Maybe a person just want to know what it's like to be in a college or a university. So we hope to provide that full gamut of information that young folks will take and be able to pass on from generation to generation.
I want you to know it's not grandiose at all. In fact, recently here in the Harrisburg area, here in Harrisburg, we had a number of, I think 35 young engineers come into Harrisburg by way of a program called Esteem. It was a partnership between the Harrisburg School District and the Blueprint organization, the MLK Leadership Institute. And they had 350 students in a 2 or 3 week, summer camp.
Yes.
And they brought in students that were from the Black Engineering Organization.
Society of Black Engineers.
And a lot of these young men and women from Ghana and Nigeria and places like that, they housed them. Brother Reggie was telling us that when they first came in, the package was for them to be here, but no one had thought about providing for the food and stuff like that. So these kids would have to come out of their own pockets. And Reggie's like, oh, no. So he went around and really asked, and people just start pouring money into it. And folks, said, hey, no, this is something we need here. And boom. And the money just came in like crazy. And next thing you know, this national, international program with Harrisburg students just took off.
Yes.
That's the kind of vision and the kind of collaboration that can happen and will happen.
Yes.
And I'm sure Sankofa 21 is going to make it happen.
Yes, we plan on making that happen.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that didn't get a lot of fanfare, but I thought that was one of the best efforts recently that I've seen. That just, planning to execution, flawless, and it can be done. So I know, I know it's going to be done.
But I also like the concept of what you're saying is franchising this whole effort, and to having other communities also be well versed and able to continue these type of programs and make look different than some traditional type of organizations or clubs for young men and women, and have a different bent as to what it is that you want to try to expose them to and allow them to see possibilities of future endeavors, and also meeting people they may not generally have access to. So I think that's going to be a different way of really being able to market that and let people see that it's something they want to be involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the whole STEM thing is sweeping the country. I watch Jesse Jackson's program all the time, and I tune into other things. STEM is everywhere.
STEM is everywhere, and we're hoping, as you know, now the national push is to go from STEM to STEAM, which it includes the arts. So that's also going to be a big portion of what we do. But the main thrust that I would like to get across is that rather than looking at the world through contemporary Eurocentric eyes, we want to be able to expose these kids to looking at the world also through an Afrocentric eyes. This way you have something to compare it with, other than just popular society. So it's important that this information gets out there.
Absolutely. And one of the sad realities is right now, popular society is telling, especially the inner city, urban African-American child, but actually if you look around the country, it sweeps across boundaries. It's not inner city just anymore. But too many of them are aspiring to be the gangster rapper.
Right.
You know, and that's I'm not knocking rap. Okay, those are, but we're not happy with what we're seeing for too many of our youth. They're ending up in the system far too often.
Exactly.
They wear the ankle monitors and they think it's part of jewelry or something. It's like, really? No, you're in the system. You know, so we have got to get them out of this mindset that they're currently involved in, and that's what you're all
And
about.
this is exactly right. And understand that being able to interpret law, which is a major part of what I like to do, along with the economic piece, having them to understand why you have that ankle bracelet on.
Yeah.
You know, so and understand that you don't want to have it on. It's not something that you should glorify. And the other side of that is, okay, what about all of the youth that aspire to do something great. that don't get
We
the
got to tell the
publicity?
story.
Yes,
We got to tell that story.
So, so this is really where we're going, and that's some of the work that M.K. Asante Jr. has done.
Yes.
He's put out some pieces that a lot of folks should see. Things like
yes.
Motherland and
Yes.
500 Years Later. That tells the story.
The Black Candle.
The Black Candle about
Yeah.
Kwanzaa.
And these are all CDs
Yes.
that he has produced,
Yes.
movies.
Yes.
Major DVDs.
Major.
CDs,
Yeah,
DVDs. I mean, major motion pictures that really tell the story well.
Yes,
Yeah,
tells
yeah.
the story well. And that's what it's all about, telling the story well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, also, I know on the drawing board, you have a film festival in mind that will also show some of the films that we don't always necessarily see. Magic Johnson's doing a wonderful job right now. What is it, the ABFF or something like that?
Yes.
And on his station, which is like, what, 138 on the
Aspire,
yeah, Aspire station, yeah. But very seldom can you turn on TV and see independent films that speak of the African American community.
That's
and
true.
he's doing that. So you're talking about bringing that into Harrisburg, right?
Harrisburg is looking to do Sankofa 21. We're hoping not this fall we'll be doing
We
the
don't
first.
hope, we plan.
We plan the African Film Festival. Sankofa's 21 African Film Festival will be held in October of this year.
Yeah, yeah.
So more information to come.
Yeah, yeah. And we may be doing that down at the State Museum in conjunction with the workshop and all
Yes.
that, since it's a nice space. But we're talking at this point
Yes.
about that. But that's something that definitely has to happen.
It has
And it's
to.
open for everybody. I mean, but it includes everybody.
Yes,
You know, we
it
want
does.
everyone to come out and see it. This happens in Philadelphia. It happens in New York. It happens in Los Angeles. And the entire community embraces it, cross racial lines and cultural lines.
Yes.
Because it's something that, you know, speaks to everybody.
Speaks to everyone.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So we applaud you for having that, you know, foresight and vision. You know, like I said, we ain't gonna hope for it, brother. We're gonna plan for that.
No, we're going to plan for it. We're
That's
going to
right.
make it happen.
And you have
You're
a special
absolutely
group
right.
of individuals that are assisting you and supporting you
Yes,
with
the
this.
steering committee
Yes.
of Sankofa 21 as we build. Men like Travis Waters, men like Walter
And Travis
Howard.
Waters is?
Travis Waters is the superintendent of schools in the Steelton School District. And also a PhD candidate right now at Morgan State University. Walter Howard, excellent man. We know him as Walter Shango Howard.
Shango Howard.
Is a scholar in his own right.
Absolutely.
You know, works for the state Department of Education. And we have our elders like George Green of Middletown, Pennsylvania, and we owe a lot to Brother Green on that. And people like Brother Lavelle Muhammad, principal at the Nativity School here in Harrisburg, who's involved in this. George Brown Jr.,
Yes.
former engineer, retired engineer, I should say,
Yeah.
who's also involved in helping us
Great
put
guy.
this together.
Yeah.
So yes,
But you also had another person just said they want to be on board. Bishop.
yes, we also now have Bishop Nathan Baxter, who will assist us and in fact is helping us move forward with a brick and mortar location at this point.
Yeah.
So we're looking at some things right now.
And he was, of course, the
Yes.
retired bishop out of for the Episcopal
Retired
Church, but also
bishop
the National Cathedral,
at
right?
the National Cathedral.
Boy, I'm telling you, you got some heavyweights sitting up in
Yes,
there.
yes, indeed.
You have Nathaniel Gaston.
And we
course, I
have,
mean,
of
I'm
course, the
sitting up
Reverend
there.
Dr. Nathaniel Gadsden.
I'll hold the
here.
door open for everybody. It's a
But
lot of fun.
yes, and I'm glad you mentioned that because getting back to where we started earlier, the Black Episcopalians United, it's a national organization, will be holding their conference in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Inner Harbor.
Oh, my goodness.
On the 27th, they will be giving a national award to none other than Michael Kenneth Williams.
Go ahead. Beautiful. 27th of July.
27th of July.
In
Yes,
Baltimore.
in Baltimore.
That's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I want to say this too. That I want to thank your mother who opened up her home for on 4th of July. We had a wonderful time there. Michael was there,
Michael was
along
there.
with people like
Chris Franklin,
Chris Franklin from the Harlem
Bobby Brown
Globetrotters.
from Cincinnati. Yeah, Bengals. Yeah, Bobby Brown.
Okay, Cincinnati
Yeah,
Bengals.
yes.
And then of course Bishop Nathan Baxter retired.
Bishop
this year.
Nathan Baxter.
You know, it's just really a wonderful, wonderful gathering of people, and you know, and you have a wonderful family, man. Again, I want to applaud you, but you always get a sense of history when you come to your family gatherings.
Yes.
And a sense of purpose. People who are committed
Yes.
to building a better society, better community.
Yes.
Just within that family. That's good stuff. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, you also share with us, and talking about wonderful families. How about your mother and the recognition that she has received? Regarding
Right. Well, Mom, goes way back here. My mother is going to turn 89 years old in December. Her name
That's
is
hard to believe.
Her name is Paula Williams, and most people here know her as Lady P. Why? Because at one point she was looked at by the Queen of England to be bestowed the honor of Lady because of her work of helping Bahamians get settled in the United States.
Beautiful.
Yes, and so even though that didn't, pan out, everyone in the Bahamas still knows Paula Williams, but they may also know her by her maiden name, which is Paula Thompson.
Okay.
Yes, so she's helped people like Sydney, Sir Sydney, and others. So yes.
We're
And
gonna
you
quickly-
said that she and Sidney Poitier grew up together?
Yeah, yeah.
Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier and my mom go way back. My mother, kind of grew up together in the Bahamas, and when he came over to get started in acting, she would be the one as he would go up on the rooftops to try to get rid of his accent, to fix the peas and rice and the conch and the grouper and things like that. And they would always have parties. But yes,
Fantastic.
Sir Sydney, as he's known now,
Sir
is
Sydney.
yeah.
Well, we quickly ran out of time, but how can people contact you to know more about what Sankofa 21 has planned for the future?
You can reach out to Sankofa. We have an email at this time. It's sankofa21@verizon.net.
Okay, and you see how it's spelled in the
Yes.
screen there, Sankofa21@verizon.net.
Yes.
That's easy enough,
Yes.
right? And I really applaud you for, reminding us. I love that bird, the Sankofa bird that shows us
Reaching
reaching
back.
back. And
Yeah.
the bird's looking
Moving
back behind it.
forward.
That's
Yes.
wonderful,
Yeah.
wonderful. Well, we want to thank Paul Carey for coming on the show and doing what he does. He is a tremendous teacher and advocate for education and history in our community, and he's someone that we need to, lift up and get more like the Paul Careys of the world. Keep on teaching, man, and keep on doing the things that you do. We need it, and we know that you will pass along the information as you have gained information, and you will share it and encourage others to do the same. Thank you so much for watching the show. We'll see you next time here on Life Esteem. Goodbye.